Our next talk is from Orly at ClarityQ, and we're going to be talking about how AI is democratizing game analytics. So, round of applause, please.
I'm Orly Shoavi. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ClarityQ. I used to be the co-founder and CEO of a company called SafeDK, which was acquired by AppLovin, and then I was general manager at AppLovin for 3.5 years, and then I left in order to found ClarityQ. And ClarityQ revolutionizing the way game analytics is done, of course, by using Gen AI. And in this talk, I'm going to talk about how every Gen AI solution for game analytics should be the must-haves. And I'm also going to provide some real-life examples from gaming companies that are our customers today. But first, let's dive into the pain. So questions like this are being asked on a daily or even an hourly basis in every gaming company. Cohort analysis, segment analysis, A/B testing analysis, user behavior, user journey. All the time you're asking these questions. Now the problem is the only ones that can actually answer these questions are the analysts. They know SQL, they know the bits and bytes in the data, the bugs that are hidden inside the data. And no matter how brilliant the analysts are, they are most of the time they are super overloaded. They need to answer other questions coming from across the company, from marketing and growth and ops and management, of course. So decisions are actually made in delay of hours, weeks, or even made without supportive data, which is the worst case possible. Now, on the other hand, you have the analysts, and they don't like to be like SQL monkeys or report monkeys, just answering ad hoc questions all day long. They want to do some in-depth analysis. They want to bring meaningful insight that really move the needle. So there's frustrations from that side as well. And in gaming companies, we all know there are tons of data, petabytes of daily data, billions of events, and these things need to be solved in our era. So when then came Gen AI, and everyone was saying, perfect, now I can chat with my data, I can ask anything I want, I can connect my favorite LLM to the data via MCP, but that really doesn't work like magic. You can ask anything, you can even get answers that sound smart, but then you see they're inaccurate. So there are more to this. You have to understand the game context, the business context, the metrics, the events, the meaning of the underlying data before an agent can answer data questions accurately. So this is in a high level for every Gen AI solution for data analytics, for game analytics. This is in a high level the structure. The first thing is the context builder agent. I will call it the builder agent, which builds the context. It connects to the data sources of the company, your data warehouse, the BI tools, the Tableau, Looker of the worlds, to any documentation you might have, to your SQL query history, et cetera. So the more sources you provide to the context engine, the more accurate will be the context that it actually builds. And then once everything is built, once it's truly understand the semantics behind your events, data tables, and your calculation, your metrics, your segments, etc., then you have the conversational agent which uses this basis, which uses this context in order to accurately answer the questions. Let's see how we build context accurately for gaming companies. So first, the raw data, the events, the ones that tracks your user behavior, the user journey, what the users are actually doing in your application, in your game. So for each event, as you all know, for each game there can be hundreds of events or even thousands of events, and events type I mean, and for each event you might have dozens of parameters, and each parameters might have hundreds of or even thousands of values for the parameters. And you need to understand all this in order for the conversational agent to be able to answer accurately your questions. So this is why the context builder agent has to understand really each and every event and data points that I just mentioned. You can see here, for example, this is from one of our customers' event called RV Watched, which is fired whenever a user watches rewarded videos. So you can say, this is easy to understand, right? It's called RV Watched. RV, by the way, every simple agent probably know that RV stands for rewarded videos. But let's look at the parameters. The parameters are SC balance. What is SC? It's something that is in the internal glossary of this specific gaming company. What is SHC balance? And more importantly, mission ID, you can see the semantic of mission ID, the description is the mission level number. So in this specific gaming, mission equals level. Without understanding this, the conversational agent will not know how to answer a very simple question such as, how many users completed level 5? So you have to explain somehow to the conversational agent what that mission equals level in these specific games. And this is exactly what the builder agent needs to do. By the way, spoiler alert, we also need human in the loop, always. We all know by now AI doesn't work like magic. Okay, so we have the builder agent as automatic as possible, and the more data sources you connect, the more accurate it will be, but you have to have the analyst who know the data, go over everything and approve it. We'll talk about it later on. Okay, so after we understood the events, let's talk about the tables. Also, we need the aggregated tables understanding. So you need to understand each and every table, meaning each and every column of tables. There can be hundreds, thousands of tables, thousands of columns, and you need to understand everything in order for the conversational agent to be able to answer it accurately. In here you can see, for example, a table called user metrics live, and this table includes metadata on users. So the conversational AI needs to know that whenever it is being asked about user details, it needs to go to this table in order to answer the question. Super, super important for all the context building to be as automated as possible and as accurate as possible. Okay, and now let's look at the most important part in understanding the semantics of your data. This is what we call the semantic catalog. Maybe some of you have heard of the term semantic layer. It's not exactly the same, but it's a very similar concept where you understand not only the raw data, the building blocks, the events and the tables, but also how this specific company calculates each and every metrics. So in each gaming companies, you calculate churn differently, retention differently. Even a simple basic term such as daily active users is probably calculates differently in different gaming company. Even in the same gaming company, some people can calculate differently the metrics called daily active users. So it's important for the conversational agent to understand exactly how it is supposed to answer questions about daily active users. Let's look at a metrics called ARPU. I'm sure everyone here knows this, average revenue per user. What you see here is the SQL query that represents how this specific gaming company calculates ARPU. Okay, so in another gaming company, probably different SQL. Now this is built automatically, by the way. It should be built automatically from the data sources that are connected to the agent. If it's not built automatically, by the way, then it's a problem because there's tons of manual work in here. Again, human in the loop is needed. The analyst needs to approve everything here, but you need to provide super easy to use UI in order for them to approve it, and this is what we do. Perfect. Now, another thing that the context builder agent needs to do is actually protocols. You probably have in your gaming company a predefined set of questions for some purpose. For example, I want a root cause analysis to examine the drop that I had in revenue. So there are some predefined series of actions that I need to do that need to be done in order to analyze this scenario. Another scenario possible is for new release. Okay, you have a new release and you want to understand, you have a series of steps you probably do for every new release in order to analyze the performance of the new release. This is what you see here. Here you see actually the output of the conversational AI agent for this specific, for the other gaming company. You see here the summary. They look at retention, usage, etc. Retention and quality. This is some of the protocol. This is part of the protocols that this specific gaming company uses in order to analyze the new version, monetization, adoption trend, etc. So a simple question can be asked analyze the performance of this version versus the old version. No need to provide the entire process for the agent. So once the builder agent built this context, now the conversational, and by the way, the human in the loop is completed by the analyst, approved by the analyst, then you have the conversational agent. It can answer any question in a very accurate way. Engagement, retention, adoption, anything you like. In-depth analysis are being done every day on an hourly basis. Once you go, you just can't afford going back to just writing SQL manually or being totally dependent on the analysts. Let's see some real-life examples from customers of ours. Let's see if it's working. So, okay, so we have the A/B testing analysis. We kept the typos, everything. It's really the analysis made. For A/B testing in the US, show the level funnel for first 50 levels, including level completion rate, RV per user, interstitial per user on different graphs. We believe in transparency, so the agent always will show you the exact steps that is going to do, and this is how you know that the agent actually understood your question right. If not, you can just fix it. You see all the steps. You can see the SQL. This is for analysts. We're also Copilot for analysts, so they can see the SQL behind everything. And you see the final analysis, super easy. You don't have to understand anything about SQL or data in order to get this analysis. And you see here the completion rate, RV per user, intel per user, and the summary table. Now they want to know why the drop in completion rate for group E and G in level 34 to 36. You can see here there is indeed drop in the completion rate, super important. Let's see, so the agent first want to make sure that there is a drop in completion rate, and there is, and there's also a lot of RV per user and interstitial per user in this specific group E and G, so you can see it here. And also, it asks why. Users abandoning due to ad frustration or some technical issues, and see what it's, they found out that the restarts per user at level 35, look at group E and G. Of course, the completion rate was dropping because there are tons of restarts, probably because of the ads. Something is truly wrong with group E and D. Analysis made in 10 minutes instead of days. You can see here, and let's see, the next question was, can you compare the revenue of groups E and G? Okay, maybe the user saw so many ads that it somehow compensates the completion rate, the drop in completion rate, but this is not the case. The revenue stayed the same for group E and G, so probably you don't want to go for group E and G in this A/B testing analysis. Let's go for the second example. I wanted to show you the LTV prediction. No. Any suggestion how I operate this? Here. Perfect. Please create the most common purchase chain per purchasing bucket. Example, players with LTV of $100 to $200. This is they first purchased in $10 and then $17, etc. They want to predict whales. How can I identify whale in a very early stage in the game? So you can see here the analysis. Again, this is a game owner asking. It's super, super easy for them to ask, and they want to understand the patterns. Let's see. So the key insight is a player's second purchase price is highly predictive of the user being a whale. But the user insists, I want to know, is there any indicator to differentiate between low and mid value players before the second player? And again, there's a strong, you can see the first purchase price over 20, and depositing money before playing, it's a good signal for being a mid player. Not a whale maybe, but someone that you want to invest in. So these are all real examples. Some takeaways after 2 years of implementing, developing, and working with gaming companies that work with our solution. The first one, and we talked about this, context is the key. Without accurate context and understanding your own data, it won't work. It won't be as accurate as you want it to be. Second takeaway is no solution will be 100% accurate without human in the loop. Analysts are super essential for these kinds of solutions. Okay, we have to have the approval for the semantic understanding, and we also need the analysts to be the first users of any solution, like for game analytics. Why? Because as we said before, analysts know the bits and bytes, the bugs, the small bugs in the data, the filter that you need to add only in this version, etc. So they need to be the first users, and only once we get the green light from the analyst, then you can spread it around the company and everyone can use it. Third, no one likes onboarding. So everyone hates onboarding, even though it's super important for this specific use case. But our job is actually to be doing all the onboarding as automatic as possible. And as I said before, we have to have human in the loop, so it's our responsibility to provide to analysts the best and easiest to use tools in order to make the approval process. Fourth, explainability and transparency are a must, not just because it actually making the agent much more accurate, but also for you, the users, to understand if the agent understood correctly your question, if the direction it takes it's the right direction. Sometimes you need to fix it, sometimes you want to direct it to other metrics to look at. Super important. And my favorite takeaway, users will indeed ask anything. So in ClarityQ, the first version that we made was excellent in generating accurate and very fast SQL. But once we provide ClarityQ, what we call internally ClarityQ 1.0 to users, then we learned that they indeed asking anything from change the bar colors to our company logo colors, or summarize all the analysis into a mail for the management, or suggest ways for me to be the first one in my category in the Play Store. How can I increase revenue? Things that requires much more in-depth analysis than just one SQL. So yes, we need to make sure our agent knows not only to answer questions accurately, but also knowing to also answer, I don't know, I don't have enough data to answer your question, or I need more clarification in order to understand your question. So what's next for Gen AI for the game analytics? In our opinion, first, add market-aware analytics. You have Sensor Tower, you have external benchmarks. We want to connect it to the game analytics, so you can ask questions like how my retention is doing compared to games like me, like in my category. Predictive analytics is super important. Also, there are already models that do it very well. We need to combine it with LLMs. And so you can ask questions like, I want to increase the IAP price. How would it affect my overall revenue? And real-time proactive insights. This is the holy grail, actually. It's gonna be a reality very, very soon. But it's important not to develop blindness to the insight. So we need really meaningful, significant insight that will really, really impact the conversion, revenue, retention, all the KPIs. That's it. Thank you very much. Something is wrong here, but you can ask any questions. We have a booth out there, and I would be happy to talk. Thank you so much.